All right, everyone. Welcome to Bull Banter. It's your boy Curtis Scott from here, and we have Kendrick as well today.
What's going on, guys? Bolt up. Preseason's finally over. Let's start talking about some real football.
Finally. Oh, man. So last night we had our fourth game in San Francisco, and a lot's been talked about, just seeing who's going to make the cut when we cut down to 53. But yesterday's game was a hard one to watch just because it was such a low-scoring game and nothing really happened for a while. I mean, I think there are 4 touchdowns, and that was it.
Well, they blew on the first drive. They blew it, and they guess 49ers got a touchdown. Yeah. Whoever our third and fourth string corners are that they blew past.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it was like we had my boy Donald Brown, finally the APP for this guy.
Oh, dude, we should pull up some stats right now.
Yeah. I got him right here. So rushing for Donald Brown, 4 carries for 3 yards. His longest rush was 2 yards. And then we had Brad Sorensen. You know, he tries to run some screens with Brown. 5 catches for 34 yards. His longest catch was 9 yards. So we found a stat yesterday. Donald Brown is the 11th most played player on this team. And the NFL, he's 11th most paid running back in the NFL. This guy's barely a 4th stringer. He's maybe a 5th stringer. Because I'm going to be real with you right now. I think Dreamius Smith made this team. 13 carries for 30 yards from that guy. I think he made the team. I don't think he's going to get cut.
No.
Like, come on right now with this guy. Like, if there's a black mark on Telesco's career right now in San Diego, it's this guy. That he brought Donald Brown from Indianapolis and somehow he bamboozled Telesco. Like, they must have been boys or something back in Indy because, oh my gosh, this guy.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
Wow. I'd cut him. I wish. If it wasn't for that money.
And looking at it, Kellen Clemens, he rushed for 4 yards on 1 carry, which is better than Donald Brown.
Oh my gosh, you're right. He has more rushing yards than Brown did.
So
that's fantastic.
Let's put Clemens back there and get rid of Brown, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Our 5th string running back.
You could have Clemens play fullback, the next John Kuhn. Have him back there. Man, Oliver basically walked. He went onto the field. He's like, all right, I guess I'll prance around for a bit. And he got 5 yards, doing nothing.
Doing nothing. 4 carries.
Oh my gosh. They can do what Donald Brown does. Hand the Barack off to me, and then I freaking stand back there and panic. I'll do that. I'll take half of what he's making, guys. I'd appreciate a quarter of what he's making.
I mean, his average is 0.8, so that means you're not even getting a yard to carry. That means you fall down and you can't stretch for a yard.
Oh my gosh,
that's crazy.
I can do that. All right, we're gonna pay you $250,000 a season to get 0.8 yards a game. You got it. I'm on it. On point. I got you. It's like a great analogy I hear on a lot of sports podcasts when they're like this receiver had 5 drops in the game. I could do that. You could pay me that money to go have 5 drops in a game. NBD. I got you.
How about our receivers? What do you think? Just looking at the stats and what you saw.
I thought a lot of those guys were pretty slow onto it. I think that this guy who actually caught the touchdown, Tyrell Williams, a young guy, he'll probably I could see him making the team as a 6th stringer. I think he's undrafted. He's an undrafted rookie. But he's the one who got the big touchdown from Sorensen. The guy I was really looking for was Austin Pettis. I thought that he was a sleeper after the Rams had drafted that kid pretty highly. Didn't really see anything out of him. I think he's more of a rehab project, really.
Yep.
For the Chargers receiving core. Just kind of a guy that we signed at the end of last season, see what we could do to rehab him, see if he could get his career kick-started. And, I don't know about that guy. But that was pretty much it. We didn't see Inman in this game at all.
No.
Just kind of like young guys. Just guys that are I think more out of the receiving core, it's going to be guys that we might see get cut, maybe a name to watch for, which is pretty nice to have a name on the roster cuts to look for.
Yeah. And John Phillips, 3rd string tight end. He was 5 receptions on 25 yards. So nothing too crazy, but I was just curious to see how he would do because we kind of need him for the first 4 games.
Yeah, no, I like him a lot in like goal line situations too, where like you need like another tight end in there, another option to throw to. I think he's really good. I think he's a dependable tight end, if you know what I mean, as a third stringer, and like as a second stringer next to Green, like he'll be really important. I think we'll see him on a lot of just a lot of key throws, and I think Phillips is like a guy who he can play fullback too, and he's a really good blocking tight end. So we could see him doing a lot. I could see him in goal line situations, definitely no block if like we're going to get a quick pass out to Woodhead going up the end zone.
And I don't know about you, but I really like Herndon. I think he'd be a great guy to keep around.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's pretty young though, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think if we keep him around, I could see like practice squad. And then kind of you sign him, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't know, maybe his depth they'll have him around.
Yeah, I think it's his first. He's a rookie right now. He came out of Arkansas, so
yeah, he definitely jumped out a little bit, but it's kind of like I think Williams impressed me more because I can't even find the stat in here. There was a receiver, I think it was number 5. He had a couple like plays where he was kind of off. Yeah, I can't even find him in the stats right now. Yeah, so whoever this receiver was, number 5, he was like they were throwing it and then he kind of like stopped a little bit, like it came like 5 yards under the pass. I saw that like 3 or 4 times.
Okay. Yeah. How about this Jared Hayne guy, man? Everyone's talking about that.
Jared Hayne.
He's on the 49ers.
On the 49ers, yeah. The Australian guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty talented. That was pretty cool to watch.
But from what I understood, he was like this rugby star that just said, hey, I want to try something else. I'm going to NFL.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did. And, I've seen highlights where, like, I saw one where he couldn't see it in the sun, so he turned around and he watched the shadow of the punt as it was coming down and then caught it with his back turned.
Wow.
Because he could see the shadow of the ball coming down. And he said that was a rugby technique that he learned, like when it was a kickoff. Like when you couldn't see it in the bright, like Sydney sun, because of the glare that'd be coming off the stadium, you could watch the shadow of the ball on the ground. He's big reports like on the internet where they're like talking about him. It's pretty funny.
It sounds like a movie story. You know what I mean?
A Disney movie where it's a rugby movie and then it's a football movie.
Yeah, instead of Blindside, it's like From Down Under or something. I don't know. It's definitely going to be an E60 thing probably.
Let's capitalize on it. We'll monitor it. A Curtis Geffen production.
There we go. All right.
I think that guy's going to make the team, though. Hayne, I think for sure.
Yeah,
I think he's going to make the team as like a third string running back.
What are you thinking about our defense? There's a lot of guys mixing around and D-line, linemen, linebackers.
Yeah, man. You know who I saw in there getting half a sack credited? I thought it was a full sack. Was Ricardo Matthews coming back around? That was a guy where we saw him. We saw him starting at defensive tackle and defensive end like a while there. Mm-hmm. And that was pretty interesting to see him in there getting in the mix. Because that was a name I didn't even know we had on our roster, really.
Yeah. And then also on the radio, I've just heard a lot of people talking about Darius Philon, our draft pick, and how a lot of people are really impressed with him. I haven't really paid extreme attention to him. Just I know his name because we drafted him. I've seen him on a couple of reps.
Oh my gosh. Shout out to Donald Brown. 6 hours ago, Eric Williams, the straight up ESPN G, says Donald Brown a projected cut for the Chargers.
Yep. I saw that.
It's happening. Dreamius Smith is going to make the team over Donald Brown.
Yep.
Wow.
What do you think of our linebacker and D-line core? Like, it's kind of hard to tell just because there's so many young guys in the mix here.
Well, the guy I've been impressed with all preseason, who's probably my preseason MVP, is Kyle Emanuel.
Oh, yeah.
Coming off the outside. Like that's been a big spot for us ever since, pretty much going back to ever since we lost Sean Merriman. We've needed an outside linebacker. And like, yeah, like Melvin and Atauchu as like a core out there, but like having Emmanuel back there. We still have Cordero Law, who was from the Canadian Football League, I think.
Yeah,
still
he's been
over
playing
there.
pretty well from what I'm seeing. Like statistically, he's playing pretty well.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, going back to Filon, it sounds like he's gonna be the next guy down from between like Reyes and Leggett. Like if we moved Reyes to defensive tackle, then Filon would be the next guy up to be a rusher.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's very cool to see like Emmanuel's a 5th round pick, Filon's a 6th round pick, and like these are guys that like are really truly giving us depth. Like I thought Perryman had a great preseason. Perryman was in there making big hits. He was working hard. Like I think Jaleel Adai starting at safety is going to be like so big for us. Because I saw Adai making big tackles. You know, the guys that want to see more like the preseason were like a corner like Patrick Robinson. Getting him from like Miami and the Saints, like that nickel corner, like he's going to be a big one. That's going to be a guy to watch.
I hope.
Like, I think this will be the first season where we actually see fruitful late draft picks. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I think Filon and Emmanuel are like they're pretty good guys. They're good depth guys.
And like I'll give it to Telesco. He's done. And just the Chargers in general have done a phenomenal job of drafting since Telesco got here. To me, it's a night and day difference from AJ to Telesco in terms of talent and, consistent talent.
Yeah, I think in terms of guys he sees, like I still think like the big one on there is Teo. Like that's always going to be one where if he doesn't come up this season, like I really wonder what Telesco was thinking in drafting him.
Yeah,
like it's kind of like in fantasy football. Like okay, say this year, like the big analogy is like Arian Foster's out for a month, right? And you go and draft him in the 9th round, but then you like say he doesn't turn out. Like that's how I feel about Teo. Like they thought Teo was like a steal because he was a projected 1st rounder, and then that whole thing happened with him. But like. I don't know. That's a guy who, like, I don't think he's shown up at all. And, like, I understand that he was hurt and all that, but, like, this would be the season to see that.
I feel like last season, though, I thought he showed up pretty well last season.
Yeah, but I also thought, like, I thought Donald Butler had some things going on where, like, he was kind of dropping off, which made Teo shine a lot more. So it's like say this year Donald Butler's at 100%. And then like Perryman's being healthy. Like I think this is the first year where like we could really like truly like review where Telesco's draft picks are at this point. Because like Teo's like the first big one to review, and then like 2 years from now, where's Gordon? We can review that one too. And like that really starts to show like from what his draft picks have seen. Because like on paper, for what he was doing, like these drafts were amazing. These were amazing drafts compared to what AJ Smith does. But like to where these draft picks are now is where we're going to start seeing it. We'll start seeing it this season. This will be like the first big one.
Yeah, I really hope Teo has a great season because he seems like a guy that's more, what's the word? Like logically and,
he's a methodical leader.
Methodical guy.
Yeah.
And he is like the heart of his defense where he leads a defense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I definitely like him as a person. And, like, if we were to lose Weddle, like, Teo would be, like, still be a big guy to have in there. But, like as far as ability goes, like, man, this is a guy where, like, coming out of college, we thought he was going to be, like, a Luke Kuechly type, like, just, like, a big middle linebacker in there in the middle. And, like, him and Perryman should be, like, the big, like, core of that linebacking core, like a big young back linebacking core. Like, you got a guy like Teo in there who has ability to, be a Junior Seau type, and then a Perryman who has the ability to be a Ray Lewis type. Like these are young guys who, like, the people that they looked up to, the guys that they put their game after are Hall of Famers.
Well, we'll see, I guess, huh? But
yeah, definitely.
You mentioned Weddle. When are they going to sign him?
I don't think they're going to talk about it at all this season.
I know. It's ridiculous.
I think it could be very similar to how the Chiefs screwed over Brandon Flowers. And you got to imagine that, like, they saw how the Chiefs handled that situation, took it into there, and then they're just going to come back to Weddle and get a contract. And, like, I honestly think they're going to do everything they can to keep him, but then he might go chase money.
Well, yeah, they've just kind of done him dirty with the way that I feel like they treated him.
Yeah, I think they treated him, but, like, also, like the counter argument is, like, he's probably got, like, what, like 4 more good years? Like, he's getting up there.
He is getting up there.
He's like 31 now, I think. And so, for me, when I see that, it's like the way that it's like he's 30 years old. Okay, so say he signed into a 4-year contract here. He takes that all the way through his career. Like, it's kind of like how when Ed Reed dropped off with the Ravens. Like, Ed Reed got that last big Super Bowl with Ray Lewis and those guys, and then he kind of like petered off here. Like, he was with the Texans for a little bit. He was with the Jets for a little bit. Like that scares me. Like, I don't want Weddle to end up that way. You know, I want him to retire as a Charger and get this last big contract. But, like, I don't think realistically, like, he's looking at this contract as like the last big one, like the last one of the career, which I kind of think he should. Because by the end of the 4-year contract, he'd be 34 years old as a safety.
It could be his last contract. And maybe the Chargers have that in mind. They're just kind of looking at it to see how he does the season to kind of gauge where he's at with his age. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think, like, the fact that we've already locked up Phillip and we've already locked up Corey Liuget, like, the main guy to focus on will be Weddle. Maybe, like, at the end of, like when's the contract extension, like, period end? Is, like, week 3 of the season?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, maybe around there we hear rumblings of it because of stadium talk coming out around that time too. But, like, I think it's going to go through the entire season, and then we'll see by the end. Like, what I really think is going to happen is he's going to hit free agency. He'll either chase money or he'll come back to the Chargers.
Yeah, I think he wants to be and stay a Charger.
Yeah, I think so too. But, like, you know, I could totally see someone like New England, someone like Pittsburgh, someone like New York just throwing money at him.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, can you see someone like Arizona? Someone like Arizona just, like, chucking some money at him so that you got him, Patrick Peterson, and Tyrann Mathieu back there? Like, I could see it. It's definitely, you know, another one of those stories that we'll be watching.
Yeah, it's going to get dicey with that in the stadium talk as the season goes on, and it could all be bumming at the, like, we could be very not happy with the stadium situation when they might even re-sign Weddle. So
yeah, and like going into stadium talk, like, do you remember how we had heard, like, on our last show how there were, like, 2 articles out about the Jaguars going to San Diego? Well, then, like, later that day, NBC7 did, like, a big story about why the Jaguars can move to San Diego. And the reason being is that it's, like, the Cuban market in Florida. Like, there's a huge, like, Cuban population that's Miami Dolphins fans, but they're closer to Jacksonville. So it's not Miami, it's Orlando. Yeah. I think it's Orlando. So in Orlando, they don't get Dolphins games. They get Jaguars games on their TV. So that's where their local affiliate goes. So they're trying to push the Jaguars out so that they can get Dolphins games and then capitalize on that market. So then what the rumblings were on Wednesday in a story I read, it was that there's some owners that are pushing for the Rams and Chargers to share the stadium in Inglewood, and then the Raiders to move to San Antonio, and then the Jaguars to move to St. Louis. And it's like, who's thinking of these things?
Stupid.
What are you thinking with this? Like, you're crazy. And then it's just like, there's another one too where, like, maybe the Jaguars can move to San Antonio, and then the Raiders and Rams can go to LA, and the Chargers will stay. Like I feel like somewhere there's someone who's just like writing dots everywhere, and they're like, all right, we'll put this story out. We'll give it a couple hours, and then we'll come out with another one.
Like, here's 4 teams. Here's a bunch of stupid ideas, and here they are.
We'll take this one for locations. We'll take this hat for teams. We'll pull it all out. That's going to be the story we're going to report on today. Like that's just like how I feel about these, like, stadium talks. And they're not real stadium talks. Like, Like,
they're
you
people that
want to know
both-
when the next big stadium talk is going to be? It's going to be next Friday when the city council gets together and votes on that stadium. September 11th is when it's going down.
Yep, it's a big day.
Yep.
Big day. Yeah, there's a lot of chitter chatter. People are bored. People got bored of talking about Rams, Chargers, Raiders, so then they brought in Jaguars, yada 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 yada. Which, I mean, it makes the Jaguars thing makes sense in terms of them leaving, but I don't know who thought of saying they were gonna go to San Diego. That's just crazy to me.
Yeah, I know. And there's a guy at my work who's a Jaguars fan, and he's like, "Man, I love if they move to San Diego." I'm like, "You're a slow percentage."
Yeah. I mean, it's tough
so
because it seems like with the Ram situation, they're gone. Like there's no way they're staying.
they're out. And like, the only reason the NFL is mad about them is because they didn't work with the NFL on this at all. They just went and did it because they knew that it was going to take too long.
Yeah, and then
And, like,
St. Louis is actually like trying like San Diego to keep their team.
It's actually like it's pretty fantastic too because I heard them talking about on the radio how we're almost up to the point in the timetable where it's going to be impossible for a stadium to be ready by 2016. Like, it was like they were saying how it's pretty much now or never, and if it's not ready by October, the plan for like stadiums that they're trying to build in Carson, Inglewood, it's not going to be ready in time. So they were talking about just completely pushing it off for 2016.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it could be. I mean, if you really think about it, is it going to be focused more on relocating a team or relocating a team to a stadium that is built or like that is going to be built? Because
like they talked about like how they could play in like USC's like Coliseum and stuff, or like in the Rose Bowl or something like that. And it's like they don't want to be doing that.
I think they even looked into that. No, I don't remember, but I think only one stadium said maybe out of a lot of the college stadiums.
The Rose Bowl. Yeah, it was the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl said they'd be down.
Rose Bowl said maybe. USC said no. Because if you think about it, think if someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, I know you have a huge stadium. We want to use it for a year and then peace out." Like that's. I mean, yeah, it's money, but I don't know. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a.
Yeah, like I feel like I think the trade-off I saw was like in like fees as far as like upkeeping the field and all that and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like we don't know that a lot with like San Diego State and like the Chargers when like they have like a doubleheader and stuff, because like Qualcomm's already has it budgeted with like their field and stuff to like get the turnover on that and everything.
And I mean, I hope they don't, but if the Chargers leave, San Diego's left with a big stadium to upkeep. Because right now, the Chargers have a pretty good deal with the way that it works, where city upkeeps stadium, they play, they keep trying to get a new stadium. But I think the issue is they just want it downtown. I'm not really sure. They don't like the new Mission Valley idea or just the plan of it. There's a lot of stuff with it.
Yeah, and then see, the other thing too about like that delay, if they delayed it to 2016, is like San Diego could come back and be like, "Hey, we could have our stadium ready. Ours could be ready by 2016." Like that's a good bargaining chip right there, because like their stadium, they could crack down on it right at the start of the season, and it'll be done. It'll be like Levi Stadium, turn it over, get that quick turnover.
But what is the date? The date is the beginning of next year when we find out where like application processes for leaving begin, right?
Yep. So, that's when we'll know.
Then we'll know. But you're right. I mean, if they do push it back, because like everyone's so hyped about it, and we know now that both the Rams and the Chargers have been like working at this for a while now. But I feel like the Chargers would not have done anything had the Rams not done anything aggressively.
Yep. Which
is kind of sad. Because
they pushed aggression in themselves, and the Raiders were like, "Oh, we got to get into this."
Yep. But it may not be till 2017, 18, further down the road where we actually have a team. It could be a while until things are settled. I don't think it will be, but you never know.
Yeah.
stuff like this where there's just so much. What's the word? It's just a hairy situation from every team.
It would be so much easier if the Rams would move to LA, if the Chargers would stay, the Raiders would go to San Antonio, the Rams would come to the AFC West, and then the Raiders would go to the NFC West, and then be done with it. And then we get a team that I think is going nowhere is the Rams. I don't think the Rams are going anywhere, which would be better for the division.
You mean in terms of success or location?
Yeah. No, in terms of location and success. I think that you have a rival right up there, right up the freeway, and I'm like, the Rams aren't a very good team.
Yeah, that's the funny part too. It's like people seem to be just picking more teams that they want, and Rams are all right. They can be great. Raiders could be great. Chargers, I think, out of all teams moving, are probably the most talented team.
Yeah, and it's like no one in LA cares about the Chargers.
Yeah, it's like San Diego. Like,
everyone in LA is a Raiders fan.
There are
you get some Rams purists and stuff.
There's Charger fans in Orange County, but to me that's north.
Yeah, they still come down.
Northern San Diego. That's like I consider that part of that like San Diego. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think I consider that like Orange County's like higher upper San Diego.
Yeah, the border of San Diego. But point being is like, if LA wanted the Chargers, it would only be because they could be successful, not because they would want Chargers as a team.
Yeah, I think so. And also because Spanos would front up a bunch of money.
Yeah, it's kind of gross too. Well, anyway, we could probably go on for hours about this.
Yeah, and I'm sure that by the end of the season, we definitely will have gone on for hours about this because this story is ever changing.
Yeah.
Every week there's always something new. And like next week, we're guaranteed. We're going to get that city vote. We're going to find out.
And I don't see why it wouldn't be passed because I've been to a couple of the city votes, and there's always that crazy politician activist that comes up and tries to refute it. But everyone loves this city that operates in the city system, and they want to see it thrive. So why wouldn't you pass it? I mean, I know people have said there's little faults with this plan, but the point is not like going forward. I mean, it is going forward with this plan, but it's getting this team back here. Whether it's, we can't show weakness. We got to keep moving to where we've done everything we could, but maybe the Chargers haven't done everything they have.
Yeah, I think it's going to be funny because like how surprising would it be if like they took a long time with this? Like, why don't you all just go in there, vote yes on the stadium, boom, next move, make your next move.
Yep. Alrighty, well, we should probably wrap it up here. Enough of stadium talk.
Yeah, man, we can start moving into a regular season. Is that what our next show is probably going to be? We'll probably preview the regular season.
Yeah, it's coming up here pretty soon. I'm excited.
We'll have roster cuts are tomorrow at 1:00, right?
Mm-hmm. Tomorrow at 1.
We'll have our full 53-man roster, and then we can start talking about guys we want to shout out to. Oh, real quickly, I was going to ask you earlier, who is your MVP of the preseason for you?
For me, MVP, that's tough because every game I feel like has been different, but I really like Emmanuel.
Yeah.
He's the MVP to me just because he looks like a veteran out there, and he's only a rookie.
Yep. There we go. Throw it up to him on Twitter. Kyle Emmanuel, Bull Banter's preseason MVP.
We'll tag him.
Let's do it, dude. I think we're in agreement on that for sure. That guy's a hard hitter. Can't wait to see him play the season, dude.
Donald Brown, we will miss you.
Shout out to Donald Brown and Trent Richardson. Drinks are on you guys at the bar this weekend.
Well, okay, this is really getting really bad now. Watch them both end up in like Vegas and they're just hanging out.
That'd be funny.
Or just hanging out. They'll be hanging out somewhere.
Dude. Somewhere the Argonauts in the Canadian Football League are like, let's go, Trent Richardson and Donald Brown. We're
All right,
hyped.
guys. Thanks for watching Bolt Banter. This is your boy Curtis Gaffram, and got Kendrick here.
Yeah, guys, thanks for watching. The regular season's starting. We're going to see you on Monday. Start talking about real football. It's time.
Real football. It's here. Alrighty. So go ahead and follow us on Twitter at Bolt Banter. Subscribe on our YouTube. Like us on Facebook. We'll keep you updated on what's going on with the Chargers. And keep your eyes open for the 53-man roster that's going to be released tomorrow at 1 p.m. Western time, San Diego time, 1 p.m.
Pacific Standard Time.
True. PT. I like Western time because it sounds cooler.
Western.
But thanks again for watching, guys, and have a great weekend. 3-day weekend for most of us. So
Bolt up, San Diego.
hold up. Later.